You're now listening to So You Were Saying
with Dora and Lex.
Tune in every Friday for the latest episode.
Hey guys.
Hey, it's Dora.
We are back with another episode of So You Were Saying, and your host,
Dora.
and Lex. Did it do? I see. This is why I'm telling you we need to. Anyways, moving on.
No.
Today's
I feel
topic.
like our authenticity is within the intro. That's just,
That's just us.
ghetto.
Yeah, because
Because the hood taught me 10 toes down.
I don't know where you've been with this. Like the hood told me, but sis, get out the hood.
It's so funny. We started in the Bronx.
Facts. You right.
South Bronx. Damn.
BX for life.
Get me my J-Lo on. You know.
Just Jenny from the block.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways, on today's episode, we are discussing.
Wait, no. Today's episode is named The Undiagnosed.
So this is all Dora because I ain't diagnosing nothing.
Well, no. First of all. Oh, you funny.
I'm just saying.
You funny. No, I really wanted to have this conversation because I feel like it's a struggle that I have heard many have.
Mm-hmm.
But never really addressed it because sometimes, especially in certain cultures, being, i.e. I am Latina, we don't address certain things, or sometimes we don't even believe in certain things just because it's just, we choke it up to life is just lifing and you should just be able to deal with life. But sometimes life just lives and I can't deal with it, and that's okay. So this episode just covers my ADHD and anxiety journey and how those can be intertwined. And yes, I will preface with saying, no, I am not a therapist. And yes, I am undiagnosed. I am my own therapist. I have diagnosed myself.
With ADHD.
With possible ADHD. With possible ADHD and certain bouts of anxiety. And I'm just trying to therapize myself into recovery. So let's get into it.
All right.
Did you have something to say?
You see, I'm real quiet right now. I'm
like,
I'm not diagnosing nothing.
Well, no, it's not really like a diagnosis. I've just realized, and this is not to say that I'm not going to eventually walk into like formal therapy, right? And really figure out. But I've realized that later on in life, what I'm talking about, like my later 20s into my 30s, definitely in my 30s, right? And of course, I'm a Jesus year, 33.
I am done. Oh my God,
yes, this is my Jesus.
No, sometimes I just truly forget that we're
adults because I forget all the time.
Oh my God, no, adulting is. I've been in this ghetto hood.
I've been in this.
No, I forget our age difference sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm older. Okay.
Yeah,
whatever. No, but I realized that things that were just okay and easy and simple and just got done before are no longer getting done. It just
dawned on me why we chose this episode. I remember now the conversation that we had when we picked the topic.
Yes. So it's like partially me diagnosing myself because, fabulous. But it's secondary to, has this happened to y'all? Because I'm going through it.
Yeah.
So this is my theory. First of all, let me explain exactly what's going on. When I was in my younger years, which is like late teens, early 20s, right? I was able to cover so much more. And by so much more, I mean, I had a job that nobody should have given me running the facility, right? Being a general manager for a very well-established gymnasium. And that my responsibility under that was training, hiring, cleaning, everything. Right. And then I also had separate family businesses that I was in charge of. And then aside from that, I was in school. And aside from that, I was trying to figure out whether I was going to be married, stay married, relationships, friendships, and everything else. And I kid you not, everything was getting done. Now, can we say that everything was getting done 100%, like 8++++? No. But for the most part, I was not failing. I at least had a 95% average
on
all
areas.
Grades.
Yeah, no.
Yes. Yes, I did. Excelling. Oh my God. A/B+ student, right?
Yeah.
Now, what the hell happened in my 30s?
Listen.
Because I kid you not, sometimes, depending on the day, setting up my coffee, turning on my computer for work, obviously remote work first. Yes. Okay. Figuring out what bills need to get paid, whether that's personal, business, or other business. Who I need to say hi to, because I don't live by myself. So could be all like look like immense tasks, and I have an average of like a C+, D-.
Life is life
in life right now, and I'm like, what is happening? And the funny thing is, the funny and sad thing, it's not that I'm not aware, because I'm aware that all these things need my attention, but I can't seem to find my focus. Like before, because when all this started happening, and because I don't find my focus, that creates anxiety for me. And I start to have this internal panic that nobody can see.
What is with anxiety and how it shows up in your life?
Everywhere.
Not just everywhere, but just at such random points in your life.
Right.
Like, I used to struggle with depression, right? But never anxiety. The older that I got, it shifted. Whereas I don't really suffer from depression, but I struggle with like moments of anxiety that never, like it would have, if you'd have asked me in my early 20s, hey, like, can you do blah, 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 like you're saying, right? Absolutely. Like I was working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, going to school, partying, and I'm talking about party hard and still showing up for work at 5, 6 a.m. Without effort. No sleep. # no sleep. Right.
# I took a shower in my job.
At my job. Plenty of nights, plenty of mornings. Oh God, we never gonna go into that. And I never had an ounce of anxiety. Right. It was just like, this is what we gotta do.
I have a theory for that, but go ahead, finish.
And now I'm like, oh my God, everything. And we touched on this in the last episode a bit, but like everything has to get done, it has to get done, it has to get done. And I cannot figure out what I should do first.
Okay. So first of all, this is Dora Therapist. We will have 2 personalities in this episode, because I will take Dora, like the person experiencing it, and Dora as my therapist. Right now I'm speaking as Dora as my therapist. Okay. Dora as a therapist will let you know that ADHD in adults is a lack of, basically ADHD in general, from what I've done my research. Again, my certificate and of graduation and master's program
comes from Google,
from the hood. Okay. Okay. Hood Academy.
Google's research.
Yeah, of course. Everything. Anything university. That's where I learned. Okay. So from what I've gathered, ADHD is the lack of focus. So basically it's an overstimulation where your brain cannot manipulate. You basically see everything. And then your brain cannot say, oh, wait, at this point, because I'm walking, I need to be paying attention to what's on the ground. And that's where my focus should be. So I don't trip, fall, or whatever.
Right.
No. My brain right now sees the TV, the floor, sees the coffee that I left, that I'm preparing, sees the fact that the light bill and the gas bill isn't paid, sees the fact that I have an appointment later on, and that's what also leads for ADHD to follow through with anxiety, because it's a continuous overstimulation and not being able to focus. Now, this is where my second theory as a therapist, we still on Therapist Dora, is coming into play, is because regular Dora during her younger years, right, was never experiencing and allowing herself to experience emotion. It also is now trickling in to this sense of added anxiety, because I did not allow myself to feel before past a certain point. The point that I allowed myself to feel was only enough to give my body enough release to allow me to be able to compartmentalize that certain specific struggle to the back of my brain. But once that was done, I was like, girl, move on.
Yeah.
Problem solved. But no, problem not solved, because that's just a coping mechanism.
Now it's showing up. Yeah.
Right. So now, this is still Dora, therapist. Dora is experiencing the fact that I have all the feels maximized, because now there is no, like, my body has gotten to the point where it's like, you can no longer hide anything. It shows everything. So it's like, imagine like my body is giving out all this emotion, but then I'm also receptive to everything that is here. And that's weird, because that's why I'm saying like my 30s is definitely very much the journey of self-awareness. But with self-awareness, it can also like backfire, where you become too aware if you didn't, or if you purposely were hiding things previously, if that makes sense.
Because you no longer can hide it.
Right.
Yeah.
So like my own journey to healing has caused, like, I have to go back to come forward.
That makes sense.
That's
that makes
therapy,
sense.
Glennis.
I mean, okay, so then do you feel like, now go back to what you just said as far as having to go back to go forward. Do you feel like you've gotten to that point yet? Because I don't think that.
Gotten to what point? I'm sorry. I was like, did we not start with like the undiagnosed, the current journey? Like, what are you talking about?
I was like, I definitely don't feel like you have, because you haven't found a balance in coming out of your shell. I don't feel like you've found a balance.
No. I mean, no. If you, the answer is no. If you listen to the previous episode where we go into our friendship, I've in the stage where I am put myself in a box that I don't want people to come by unless you are called for. Right. And I'm currently in that box trying to figure out, like, so far what I've done is I've opened the door to the box. I've stepped out of the box, and I sometimes come out and say hi to people. Right. But I'm not ready to be in the mix just 110%, because I know that there are things that, like, right now I'm very sensitive to stimulation of any sort. Not trying to be gross here, people, because I could hear the background chuckles of, I have stimulation. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like sensory wise. Like, I have to be very careful, because right now where I am,
easily overstimulated.
Exactly. So if I hang around people that are just doing too much, bruh.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I can't block it right now. So that's why I personally, like, I don't know. Nobody's ever told me this or anything like that, but I feel like I come off very disengaged right now. Like, this is my season of disengaged.
Uninterested. I wouldn't say uninterested.
Yeah.
In many things. Like, that's the energy that you give these days. Is very uninterested.
That hurt, but I knew the truth. Oh God.
No, it's the truth. You do come off very uninterested in anything else outside of your box.
Oof.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just where you are in your life. But it's kind of just like, how are you? It's, you know what's shifted a lot too? Just the conversations, right? So even your conversations have changed, and the way that you navigate through your conversations with people has changed, that I've noticed at least.
Oh, okay.
Whereas before.
No, I'm saying, like, girl, go ahead. No. Elaborate on that.
Before, you would have entertained certain conversations beyond even what you wanted to hear.
Right.
And now it's just like cutthroat. You're like, we solving a problem or we not? Because if we're not solving it, why are we talking about it?
Oof. Okay, this is all very difficult for me to hear, but it's very much like, I'm a big girl and own my journey here, right? That whole uninterested. Yeah, that's true. It hurts to hear from somebody else, even though I've said it to myself in my brain. From the outside perspective, it hurts. You said it like twice, and I was like, okay, we don't need to stress that word so much. Exactly. We get the point. They get the point. I'm not here. So to give a little context to that, it's not that I'm uninterested. It's just that, and this goes back into a weird conversation that you and I have had in the past. There was a point in time where I don't know why this conversation came about, but you said something along the lines that, oh, like my demeanor sometimes comes off very like I'm looking down upon people, or like that's not exactly the word.
I was, are you sure I said that?
Yeah.
It's like what I said. Hold on.
Yeah, I want to use the correct word, but basically it was something along the lines of that I come off very like opinionated and like I'm being judgy.
Yes. Yeah.
Against.
You're very high horsed.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's something along those lines.
That was years ago though.
Right. But that has always stayed with me. And when I started going through my journey through like our friendship, and if you're not caught up, you need to listen to the previous episode. Okay. I can't catch you up now. But when I started going through that journey of just what we're calling now the August to June journey of just figuring out what the hell is going on with my life, that's one of the things that I realized that maybe, you know, prior to my self-awareness journey, I was like I didn't mean it in a judging way, right? My intentions towards anybody that I've ever had a conversation with were always, I hope to guide you in the best way based on experiences that maybe I've gone through or I've seen other people gone through, and like my knowledge, but it's always in with good intentions. But from your comment, I realized maybe that's not the way that it's perceived all the time, right? And I guess that really got like into my head, not just because of that, but that later on became like through my own self-awareness journey with also connecting myself more with my spirituality. And specifically one sermon.
I remember that day.
One sermon as far as like, mind you, a great sermon. But one sermon about pride, and they just broke it down. And I really sat in my ish and I was like, bro, who the hell do I think I am having to give in my opinion towards every single conversation that somebody has to tell me? Like, what makes me the person to have that opinion? Like, why is that even a thing for anyone? Because if you think about it, we're all just lost but trying to find ourselves. Some are better at hiding it than others, but like there's really no sense of life. Exactly. There's no book to life. There's no real norm. Like we make things quote unquote a norm based on, you know, society and like population, but that's not really a thing if you really think about it.
No.
But because, you know, we are raised in a specific way, like we create that illusion in our heads. So I guess to go back to your whole point of being uninterested, it's not that I'm uninterested. It's just that I no longer give my opinion. I no longer give my opinion not because I don't value my own opinion, but I just don't want it to be perceived as me coming from a space of pride or ego. Because I've really, really understood I'm really, really trying to internalize the concept of people are only going to be receptive based on where they are in their journey. So as much as, you know, you could be an evolved person and your intentions can be great, right? There isn't a way to bypass that whatsoever, depending on the person that you're dealing with.
Right.
And another conversation that we had, actually, this came up on an IG Live, was when that whole teasing thing came about. Because that also came about, like, we had an IG that we covered, like, teasing and bullying. Teasing versus bullying. And, like, it really came down to the fact of, at the end of the day, anybody, what you say can be turned into a teasing or like anything could be into a teasing or bullying effect if you want it to be. Because realistically, nobody ever takes your intentions to be what they are except the people that you care for.
Right.
And the people that are invested in that sense. I don't know where the hell I was going with that. But what I'm saying is it also led me to believe that it's just, that's where it was. I just no longer give my opinion for that reason.
I feel like that is why I often ask, or now more so now than before, when someone calls me to share something or like they just want to talk, I'm like, what type of friend do you need right now? Like, do you want me to listen or do you need me to converse back with you? Because if you just need me to listen, great, I can do that. If you're asking me to give you an opinion, I am no longer at a stage where I'm giving opinions. I will lead with facts as much as I can. And if I feel like I can't lead with facts based on what you're talking to me about, I will, send you to a therapist. Like, I will just tell you, go find, like, because I'm not the person who's gonna be able to assist you with this. But I will listen. And I feel like that's a very important question that a lot of people don't ask. Right. Is like, what type of person do you need me to be right now? Because sometimes people don't want to hear what the hell you have to say. Like, they don't care. They want to cry and vent and talk whatever crap they're going to talk and then proceed from there based on their own decisions, right? So really, they just want to hear themselves talk and they want somebody else to hear them. Well, they want to be heard. Like, a person wants to be heard. And that is a very big thing. A lot of people lack the ability to listen, to just listen.
Right.
People do not know how to just sit and allow somebody to express themselves in the full version of themselves that allows them to feel heard. And that is something that if people start actually taking mental note, like checking themselves before they speak, I feel like it would be a little bit better, because not everyone, you can think that by having a conversation with somebody that, somebody feels heard. No, because I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10 in that conversation, you have interrupted them with your opinions of you about 10 times.
Right.
And they're just like, shut up, bro. I just want to tell you what I want to tell you and move on.
So the funny thing is there's like a second part to that, because I think there are instances, and if these individuals, again, who this person is also an important context in whatever conversation you're having, right? Because I do feel like if they are your people and it is something that it is, like, for example, something going back to like what we were experiencing with your situation, right? And you wanted, you were coming to me as a friend requesting an opinion. I think in those cases, whether you want to hear it or not, I think you owe your friendships the truth. Because there are certain situations, and this is more so for yourself, like from being the friend in the situation and not the person going through the struggle, that you need to leave that, because I believe in no regrets in this life. Right. And by regrets, I mean regrets, right? Because I think that's also problematic in a different sense, especially learning from our friendship. I wasn't completely as honest as I could have been within our situation. And I held that very deeply in my heart for a very long time.
Yeah.
Until I, figured it out. Not today.
Nah, okay. I mean, to the depths today. Of like how things affected you, I wouldn't have known that, before today.
Okay, and again, to give some context to this, because I mean, you're reflecting back. If you did not watch the episode, Are We Even Friends? You need to, because that will give you context as to what we're talking about. I basically just disclosed a moment in time within our friendship that just we were just
go listen to the episode.
Yeah, and we were just a little everybody was angry all around the situations and ish.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have never known that. So I feel like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but also there's a point in time for everything.
Oh no, absolutely.
Because again, like,
people aren't going to be receptive. No, and
people aren't going to be receptive
to what you have to say. But that's what I'm saying. It's definitely a journey. When you're speaking of, you don't want it to be heavy in your heart. This is a reflection of self. Right. This is not so much so of the person that's listening, like you as being, toward your friend or your person. It's more of just, you also have to be okay within yourself of what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got here.
Right. And like the undiagnosed
in the undiagnosed episode. But what I do know is just going back and reflecting back on that, I realized that there's so many tasks now that sometimes become so overwhelming, where previous it was not the situation. Yeah. And me and Dora Therapist are working diligently to find a remedy. And, you know, just for anybody that's going or struggling with this, or this is your reality, one of the things that I've realized that helps me a lot is lo-fi music.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I have definitely stepped into the element of lo-fi.
Oh my goodness.
Whereas
love
before,
it.
I would not have, you know, I'm an upbeat, wake up off the energy person. No. I want to say, and it's very recent. I want to say
during
maybe
work.
3 weeks.
Do you do it during work?
Yeah.
I love doing it during work.
Yeah. Like
lo-fi?
I find myself putting on lo-fi music and it's so soothing.
Yes.
And it almost recenters.
Yes.
Like
no, there's no sort of, no, it reset, like it gives me focus. And the other thing that I realized is I stick to a specific routine within my workspace. So with that saying, my coffee cup always goes in one place. It never gets moved.
Oh my God.
My water goes in a different space. Never mixes up where the coffee goes. Because as soon as I mix up water and coffee, oh my God, that's one other thing that I have to think about. Something that I could possibly be overstimulated about.
But like, which drink am I picking up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have to think, because again, we work remotely and we're production based.
Right.
Different elements. Some people are client facing, others are not. But
anymore.
But it doesn't matter. Well, kind of, you know. Anyways, but what I'm saying, because I still have to take Zooms. The Zooms. Okay. Anyways, but what I'm saying is, if there is an added element of I need to put focus into something, it's going to pull my focus of where I need to be. And during work time, it's production.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about.
But you know what? That comes, Jim Rohn said once, I don't remember the exact words that he used, but it was basically like, when you're at work, you're at work.
Right.
When you're with family, you're with family.
Right.
Don't mix the two.
Of course.
And I find that to be very true at this stage in my life, because I cannot, I can multitask still, but not productively, or not as productively as I used to. And I have to focus and I also learned that since becoming a mom, it's important, because you cannot, when I am trying to be productive while my toddler is awake, I easily get overstimulated to the point where I'm like, get out of my face, kid. I need to get this done. But it's like, no, you don't. This is her time. Why are you doing this during her time?
So,
and that's like a whole other like level of overstimulation, which we will touch on in a different episode.
Right. So back to Dora Therapist. Dora Therapist has also analyzed regular Dora and realized that our lifetime, right, because it seemed like a lifetime at the facility, was very much setting me up, right, regular Dora, to bad and poor qualities. Because remember, like that, during that lifetime of the facility, that's what we constantly had to do.
Yeah.
We had to continuously, anytime that our phone rang regarding that, have to dip back and back and back and back.
There was a point in time where the phone thing, because of the facility,
right?
Don't call me.
Right.
When I left that job, when that job left me, when we
disconnected, we said no more.
Right? I found myself annoyed with my phone.
Right.
And then it got worse when I got into Herbalife.
Right.
Because I always had to be on social media, always had to be on my phone, always had to be sending messages, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I was done with like everything, I found myself like my phone was on Do Not Disturb a lot.
Right.
Almost always for a period, I remember, where like people knew you couldn't get in touch with me. And it was peaceful because I was so overstimulated by my phone.
Right.
And it was because the facility, you had to. Like, they were paying, I want to say they were paying half the bill, if I remember correctly. I feel like we got reimbursed for something.
There was reimbursement of some sort.
Yeah, of some sort. I'm not going to say
But
whatever.
not enough for my therapy. Okay.
Right. That's a whole different story.
Needed after.
After dealing with them. But the fact that you had to have your phone on all the time and you could not be unavailable was so, I didn't realize how overstimulated it was until I didn't have to do it anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. Dora therapist told me how bad of a toxic cycle that became in my life. And realizing that it's like, oh, I was set up for failure through this. Because then it's just like, come and fast forward now that my body is like regulating from those 10 years of not addressing my emotional needs. I am now set up to be like, for not success, but the opposite of success.
But it's not even just the facility. Think about where we live. Think about New York City.
Oh, no.
In general.
Of course.
Like, people in New York, I feel like struggle more with that than, like, you know, people in the South, like in the South where I was at, right?
Because they actually have downtime.
Right. You have downtime. When you live in a city that's on the go, and then obviously life is lifing, and you are in a state of not just survival, but really just
survival.
But like there's like a different level, because I feel like, yeah, you're in a state of survival, but like
hustle.
There you go. You're in a state of hustle. That adds an extra layer of anxiety that when you reset or when you're coming off of that high, most people don't know how to deal with it. Most people struggle terribly with finding peace and finding calm in slowing down. So much so that I feel like it creates problems in their everyday life. Like, you cannot pluck a city person out of the city and put them in the country and think that they're going to be okay. First of all, where are the bodegas? Why can't I find me a chopped cheese at 2 a.m?
Chopped cheese.
Why is everything
Beef
closed?
patty.
Right? Like, why do I hear crickets?
Right. Because it's no, and that's so true. It's just, we will go stir crazy because we're not used to the silence. Because consistently, and that's why I'm saying the Dora therapist really nailed it with, you were set up with such toxic habits and behaviors based on the facility. Because consistently you were training your brain to sit there and not be able to focus. Yeah. Through the what, 8 years that I was at the facility, literally a damn cult. Like, it's just like I was setting myself up for failure because I was teaching my brain to completely operate exactly how I operate now, which is a completely lack of focus, not being able to find focus, and being able to ingest absolutely everything around. Like now.
That's to ingest everything around.
Right.
That is so important to mention, because a lot of people don't realize that they're doing that.
Oh, yeah. No.
They don't realize that they're doing that everything going on, you have to internalize.
Right.
At one time without just a moment to... It's almost like, you ever seen them in the movies or in shows when the world is spinning, right? And it seems like, or you're in slow-mo, but everything around you is fast. That is what it's like.
Right.
When you actually get out of it, because you have to slow everything else down.
And it's just crazy. And there's a lot of coping mechanisms, lo-fi music being one of them, because of the fact that lo-fi music, because of that consistent downtone that it has, and it's just a steady beat, it allows me to just focus on that. And then I focus and almost focus, but not focus, in a sense, to the rhythm. And then that allows me to then be able to block out and tune out the additionals. And for me, it's just like, okay, I go into full on production. But I kid you not, as soon as the door opens, I'm like, wait, somebody has entered my space. You know what I mean? Like, and people that I live with, and obviously my office is like within my parents' space and stuff like that. obviously it's not like y'all people know my structure, but whatever. I rent from my parents, okay?
No, I think you've expressed that in previous episodes.
So regardless, my office is in their space because my space that I rent does not have an office. They have a free room. I rent that and made it an office space. Whatever. Long story short, so they sometimes come in and ask me questions or whatnot. I strictly have a closed door policy with my office because it's just too much. But the funny thing is, if the house is by itself, I enjoy the door open. But if other people are there, then immediately I'm like, it's a no, because you're tapping, because you just got ice from the ice maker and that made a little noise. And then I'm like, oh, wait, that sounds like it might be broken. And then it's just oh, you open the sink. I was like, how is that working? Like water from the fridge and water from the sink. Like your brain is like, exactly. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to ingest absolutely everything while also figuring out on my screen, how am I not going to get fired today? No, it's just too much.
Yeah, and that's why I can't. People are like, when I watch TV, I need you to shut up. Don't talk to me. I don't want to have nothing else going on in the background when I'm trying to watch TV, because I'm not one of those people that people are like, oh, just tone it out. I cannot tone it out. I mean, I am a person that comes from this background that we're talking about. And so therefore, every sound around me matters.
Okay.
And so I don't know how to turn that off.
With TVs, first of all, I realized that larger TVs, right? If I'm not in a movie theater where it's like loud and like surround sound, the light will bother me. Is that weird? Like I turn off. First of all, I need
a large screen, so I don't know what we're talking about.
I'm done. No. What I'm saying,
be in movie theaters every day.
No,
I don't even watch TV every day. I'm just talking crap, but still.
That's what I'm saying. So first of all, TV has
become so
second. Like, yes, I barely do it.
Non-existent to my life.
But when I do it, I like to do it all in darkness with the shades down, because if the shades are up and I see something go by, I'm like, I immediately have to investigate. I'm like the damn house cat. You know, like the cats and like the dogs.
Window, exactly. The dogs, they go into the window.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's like, what's going on outside? Like that movie Pets. Like, what's going on? Oh, Susie Q's leaving tomorrow. Okay, I'm supposed to be I'm about to be going on a walk. Oh, you know, a poodle from down the street 2 blocks up got removed. Its testicles. It's no longer there. Like, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, no.
But it's that everything is going on. So that's why Dora therapist has diagnosed me with ADHD and possible, you know, like slight anxiety driven. And from the research that Dora therapist has done, apparently
Dora therapist, y'all. Okay.
Dora therapist, she is quite the research queen. But apparently there are certain, I guess, disorders or like mental health things that, or just things in life that go hand in hand. And a lot of it, you know, ADHD seems to also go along hand in hand with anxiety, just because ADHD in nature is overstimulation and not being able to focus. So it easily can drive somebody to be anxious. Right. So it's just like, oh, okay. But I really don't have a solution for y'all. I'm really like just trying to think like, where was I going with this? But I just wanted to put it out there because I think it's just normal at this point. And as millennials.
But I feel like as a society, we are getting better with acknowledging mental health. And we are getting better at getting the help that we need. Whereas before, help was looked at as a weakness.
Right.
I feel like help is very much a strength. Being able to ask for help and not just ask for it, but be receptive to the help that you're getting.
Right.
I feel like we're definitely moving in a better direction.
Right. And sometimes it's just, you have to, you know, get your own Dora therapist or whatever your name is, therapist, you know?
Well, you're always going to be my go-to.
No, you have a therapist
now, but I'm just saying, I even told her, I was like, Dora was my therapist long before you.
Done.
It's like,
and the fact that your therapist is who she is, I'm like, Lord, let her not. She's probably like, that's the wrong person. You should not be highly disqualified. It's like, no, you were taking direction. No wonder your life is like that.
Oh,
Stop
my
it.
God.
I've been accredited by the streets.
I got my degree in the hood.
I got my degree in the hood, and I'm accredited in the hood.
freaking
It's like, yes, 10 toes down.
But I definitely feel like regardless of what your situation is, how you manage, right? Or what you're going through, it's how you manage that's going to be most important. So find something that allows you to manage, whether it's lo-fi music, journaling, talking to someone, right? Working out.
Peloton reggaeton classes have been a miracle worker.
All I'm saying is I ain't got Peloton money right now, so we just go.
They rent Pelotons now. I'm doing it the economical way. The eco-friendly, affordable.
One day that they made
$89
First of all, I tried to use the bike at my gym, and my booty was hurting. I can't do that.
I told you that. I told you about the seat. I told you, remember? It's like you have to, and it's going to be an adjustment time. I'm just saying.
I've done spin class 2 times in my life prior to trying to use that bike at my gym, and my booty was hurting. I can't do that.
I'm just saying, Mila Mafia for life. I love that chick, Camila. She's one of my favorite instructors, Mila Mafia for life. If you do not take her cycling classes and you are on Peloton, you are missing out. Anyways, but on that note, we love y'all.
We love y'all so much.
Follow us on social media. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram,
Facebook, YouTube eventually. We're there, but like we're not really there.
Yes. At So You Were Saying _. Don't forget the _. You can't miss us. We're the emblem with the little kissy face. Or like the lips.
The lips.
Yeah, not the kissy face.
I was like, girl, get our logos together. We paid a lot of money for that. Yeah. It's your life.
We love you.
Catch you on the next episode. Bye.